Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. Hi, I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd, and I'm your host. And today I am fangirling a little bit because I have one of my favorite mentors here with us in our Zoom studios as my special guest, and I am so excited. I know I'm always telling you that I'm excited. By the time we end up on air, my guests have become my business besties. But Darla and I, we have a little bit of history. So I'm gonna, Darla, go ahead and share with everybody a little bit about how we met and how I have come to hold you in just such high esteem. So back in the day, let's see, how far back shall I go? Okay. Back in the day, once upon a time, baby was born. No, I think we should fast forward a little bit. I had left corporate and I was in private practice. And our practice was, I'm going to say, floundering a little bit because we were in an economic downturn. And so not only could our patients not necessarily come in for their appointments, but they were actually losing their health insurance as well as their jobs and that sort of thing. And so my partner at the time, well, at the time he was my boss, then he eventually became my partner. He invited me to go to the chamber and join the chamber, and perhaps I would get some business there. That was an interesting experience for me because I made a lot of really, really great friends at the chamber. The chamber felt a little bit like an old boys club. I got nice little pats on the head, but I never really felt very welcome there. And so one day I said to a few of the very good girlfriends that I had made at the chamber, why don't we have lunch together? It took a while for us to sync our calendars, but eventually we had lunch together. And one thing led to another, and we formed a women's group. And from our women's group, we started hosting retreats. And this is where the story of our meet cute with me and Darla comes into play. So I start hosting these retreats, and to a retreat, every single retreat that I would host, I was not only not making any money, but I was 100% losing money, whole scale, just basically needed to just open my pocketbook and just start just throwing money out the window. And so I think one day when I was Googling or searching something to do with retreats, I came across, and it just so happens that we had been reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich in book club for Ladies Power Lunch. And so I came across Darla LeDoux's book, Retreat and Grow Rich. And I thought, oh, interesting book. I probably looked at it on Amazon. I was like, okay, interesting book. And cookies, that book stalked me on the internet for like a couple of days. And after a while, I bought it, I read it again. And then I joined her Facebook group and I followed her for a while. And I bought one of her programs and I went to her retreat. And then I have been following her ever since. And it's, I'm going to share something that maybe I've never shared before, but it's not really easy. I came to, you know, the space that Darla holds from the point of view of, okay, I'm hosting retreats, but obviously I'm doing something wrong. Darla is going to be able to help me figure out how to make that right. But I'm going to share something with you. For me, walking into a transformational space is not that easy. And there was a lot that was similar with me and Darla. For one, I was coming from corporate into this private practice setting and also into this setting where I was hosting a women's group and hosting retreats. And she was coming from corporate where she was an engineer and now she was doing coaching and being in that space. And she's also had some life transitions that were felt similar to the things that I went through. So I felt really, really a sense of kinship there and felt like there was going to be a good opportunity for me to learn a whole lot from her. And boy, did I have to buckle in because it's been an interesting ride. So Darla, welcome. Now that I've told everybody all your secrets, can you share with everybody who you are and share all the wonderful things that you're doing in the world?
Hi, Davia. Oh my gosh, I love this story, and especially going back when you said getting the pats on the head. And I've heard that from so many people, you know, how's your little business going? As if like the work that we're doing is not impactful in the way that the traditional networking would hold it. And so I love that you just said, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. You broke the rules, you created your own community, and it's just grown ever since. I'm like looking at all the books behind you and all of the humans that you've touched because you made that decision to say there has to be a better way. So thank you for that. Where would you like me to start?
Well, maybe not at the very beginning, like when you were born, but certainly do share with us who you are and what you do and what you stand for in the world. Maybe share with us a little bit about your book, your best-selling book, your upcoming event, things like that. Oh, we're book twins.
Okay. Yeah, so as Davia said, my name's Darla LeDoux. I am the author of 2 books. The first was called Shift the Field, still is, or sorry, is called Retreat and Grow Rich. And this is the new book, Shift the Field. And I am the founder of a company called Sourced. And here we train advanced transformational leaders on how to bring transformation to your clients, regardless of the industry. We have, you know, Davia is helping people with their healthcare. We have people who are attorneys or therapists turned coaches, wellness practitioners. We have a chef, but bringing transformation into the way that they do their work. And by transformation, I mean helping people create a new awareness that permanently shifts the way they show up and interact with life. So we have a certification program where we train leaders in a few foundational elements that really shift the way they hold their business and the way they interact with their clients. One of these is the foundational idea that we are all sourced. In other words, we all have this connection to, whether you want to call it the universe, God, spirit, the collective energy, collective consciousness, that we all have access, we're all connected. And so in your work with your client, really understanding that you have the ability to access a knowing that's beyond maybe what the logical mind can understand. and also that your client does as well. Now, I call myself a recovering engineer. So my training is as a chemical engineer. My first career was in engineering. So for me to go from being an engineer who's very practical, rational, help me understand it, help me explain it, to being in this place of knowing that there's more, that actually my life becomes more alive when I follow this knowing, whether I understand it or not, whether it makes rational sense or not. And so, I've taken my kind of engineering background and the way my brain works to make connections, and I've used that to study transformation and how humans go through it, and distill down some distinctions and concepts that help make it more accessible and easier for other leaders to help their clients shift their energy first. And I feel like I want to share an example, and we can, if you're okay, maybe we could use a patient that comes in for a chiropractic visit. And maybe they have physical things going on. And then there's also an energetic or an emotional component. There's something that they're believing or something that they maybe inherited energetically that's affecting their health. And if you're only talking to them about the physical, or like I remember back, I bought a whole package of chiropractic adjustments, and every time I would be in the same place because I wasn't really doing the work. I wasn't really integrating changes in my life. And so the idea of shifting the field or looking at energy first means that you would have a holistic conversation with people. And that can be true if you're a book coach or a graphic designer, or, we have a lot of people who are coaches who coach in different niches. But having this conversation about energy first versus pretending it's not affecting everything is really what we're about.
I love that. So, Darla, I know that you're looking at the world in general, just like we all are. And you're looking at the world and you're like, if you could just put your arms around all of us and just tell us one thing, what's like that one thing that you wish that everybody knew?
I was sitting with this morning, and there's kind of two, they go together. One is that we're all sourced, that we have this inner knowing that we can trust. It's there, it's reliable. We have to cultivate it. We have to believe it. As you know, we say, believe yourself, receive from source. It's like the more you're believing your knowing, the more the knowing comes. But we all have this. And that collectively, if we trust it, we create a different consciousness on the planet. Literally, like different conversations start to happen. Less fear, more love, less disconnection, and more knowing that we're deeply connected. And so that would be the first piece. And then the second piece is we can't create this if we don't break some rules, if we don't do things differently than we were taught or than our ancestors did.
When you say do things differently, can you elaborate on that? Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. So I was thinking this morning about, I know you like to talk about why. We both have that in common, right? Like why do we do what we do? And, I have a lot of different stories, and, the origin story of starting to do my business and then moving into the business and the brand of Sourced, and kind of some of these different shifts I've had. I just hosted a retreat last week. We had a group of our leaders in, and the story that came up is a kind of a strange story, but I'm going to share it with you if that's okay. About my second retreat I ever hosted. So the first retreat I hosted actually was wildly successful, in my opinion. I was terrified. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know if I had it in me to hold what I was imagining. I don't know if you relate to this, Davia, like, I think it's going to go like this, but I'm not really sure. And can I do it? And will they come and will they get it? And all of that. But it went really, really well. And I actually made really good money, like more than I had ever made in my business before. And I was so excited. And so I decided to do it again. And so my second retreat, I booked a nicer hotel and I decided to travel. I had it in Denver, Colorado. I had people come in, same thing. I had the same content, the same little binder and workbook and everything. And it didn't go as well. So it went well, but there was something that happened that was kind of, I wasn't prepared for. And it had my offer, right? I was offering coaching. It had it go badly. And so here I am after the retreat, and I'm in my hotel suite. I had a beautiful suite. It was an Omni hotel, and it's 2-room suite that I got as a free upgrade as the retreat host. I was so excited. And I did not know how I was going to pay for the hotel bill because the retreat hadn't gone as well as I thought. And I was freaking out. And then I went into all of this conversation about, in my head, right, about how bad, what a bad person I was for doing it this way. And trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then I breathed and I remembered everything is energy and everything is sourced. And where the desire is present, the way is present. And I couldn't possibly have been in this scenario where it wasn't going to work out. Because that's my fundamental belief that everything is working out for us. And so I had to really, after I looked at all my credit card balances and bank statements and all the logins and tried to figure out how to move money and where I had space on a credit card and all of that, I breathed and I said, it has to be working out. And when I let go of that worry and I began to have new thoughts like the money has to be somewhere. It can't not be. And opening myself to the possibility that there's more going on here than I can see. And making myself, like loving myself for all the choices I had made to lead there. And really acknowledging my bravery to do things differently, right? Because how does money get in the hands of people who haven't historically had money? Someone has to do something differently. So acknowledging myself for being there. And as my energy shifted, I received 2 inquiries in my inbox about coaching. And so before I checked out of the hotel, thankfully I had booked a couple extra days there. I had had these conversations and had these payments come in. And the reason I'm sharing this specifically, or why I feel like this came through, is this idea that we have to break some rules. The rules I was taught, like that would never be something you would do. And yet I see so many people waiting for some external permission to do the thing that they're called to do. And when you're called, when it's coming from within, we have to trust that. And we have to start trusting that really boldly. Because if we wait around for the world that already exists to tell us it's okay to do it, we're going to still be living in the world that already exists instead of creating the world where connection and oneness are the truth, right? The collective truth.
That is so true and also so profound. So as you look at the world and see that this is not the norm, this is not the way that we are living our lives as we go through on a day-to-day basis, how are you recommending that as women in business, women who are entrepreneurs, women who are in corporate, women who want to make a difference, how are you suggesting that we embrace our magic and inject source more into our business life?
Yeah. So there's two answers to that. The first is we all have a series of energy patterns that disconnect us from source. So things we were told or taught or experienced growing up that caused us to go, oh, the world isn't safe, so I have to be like this in order to survive. And so the more of these we have, and we all have them, no matter how good or bad our childhood was, we all have created these ways of surviving. They're also blocking our connection. And so in my opinion, in my worldview, we have to continue to systematically shift these, to do the work to release these layers so our soul essence can interact with life as opposed to these filters. So as you know, I'm a fan of doing that through retreat, through getting in support, getting in community, because that's really how we heal. So that's the first thing, because when we're so blocked, we can't even hear it, right? And then the second is to create a regular practice to hear your own soul. So whether that's morning soul time, meditation, maybe through movement or dance or being in nature, but have rituals and practices to connect with what you actually know within, because we each have a seed of what we're here to bring. And so I love our coaching industry. I love going on retreats. I love taking classes. I love learning from experts. And like we have created, there is a culture that exists that's like, okay, I'm going to come to this class and you tell me what to do. And then I'll go do it. And then if it works, I love you. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to be mad that it doesn't work because you said it would work. Right. And there's no place in there where we say, where we're systematically teaching, okay, pause, tune in. Is this for you? Is this your strategy? Is this what you're called to do? Right? There's so much deferring our knowing to the expert. And I did that for a long time. And some of what I learned worked and some of it didn't. And some of it was very expansive and some of it caused me deep stress. And so taking responsibility for, I'm the only one that is given the vision of what I'm here to create. And I might be able to enroll other people, right? I know your thing is collaboration. So then my job is to enroll other people in the vision, but no one else can have it for me. And so if we just can acknowledge that truth instead of pretending like I have your answer, I think that would make a world of difference in how we run our businesses.
I love that. That's really one of the things that I love to talk about when I talk about the 5 pillars of collaboration. You know, that alignment, it really, really does have to be there. And without it, it's kind of not really a collaboration. So that's a really good way to look at the whole thing. Talk to us a little bit about the different types of magic that we all have, because that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. So it's in the book. Actually, I write about this and we've got a quiz on our website. So this actually came through in a retreat I was leading where I wanted to find a way, just in a short experience on one retreat, to help clients connect with how they were getting messages from source. And as I started to outline it, and it was really, really helpful for this group, I just had like a list of bullet points. I really got that it could be helpful for more people. So I just want to start by saying this is a framework created to give you permission to understand how your magic works. It's not like a comprehensive list of possibilities, but there's 6 different types of magic or ways source works with you to create transformation in the world. They are vibration, expression, expansion, recognition, sensation, and compassion. These are the 6 types of magic. And, for time, I don't want to go too deep into them. But as an example, Davia has expression magic, which is she often gets words or phrases or knowing that wants to just pop out of her mouth. That's like, where is that coming from? That's not from me. That's not from my mind. It's like a divine knowing for this person. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, or how it's been embracing that?
It's interesting because when I was growing up, my grandmother used to call it goat mouth. It's sort of like something that comes through you that in the vernacular of where we grew up, my grandmother, her heritage is Cuban. So it's like, it's from the mouth of the goat. It's not from your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that comes through. It's words that are spoken that are not from you, but they have wisdom. And yeah, people show up and words come through. And I'm like, oh, look at that. That's interesting. That makes
So even though, your grandmother had given you words for it,
mm-hmm.
and then you grow up and get conditioned, right, through your school system, through working in corporate, all of that. And then you become aware as an adult, wait, I have this gift, but it doesn't seem valuable.
No,
And
because
how do you go from grandma, like
that
being
was like an old grandma thing.
right? So what's
there was no value placed on that at all.
Even from grandma?
Even from grandma, but now it makes perfect sense, because the thing is, like, if she said something, then there would be a lot of weight put on it because I would value it coming from her. And I don't think it would be valued because it was coming from her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me I wish she was still around so she and I can have this conversation, because it's quite interesting to me to unpack this now.
And I'll speak for myself, really knowing, one of the ones I have is recognition. This is the first one that I think I really was aware of that I had, which is seeing the connections between things. And I used to think it was like a mental exercise, right? Like a memory, like someone would say something and I'd file it away, and someone would say something and I'd file it away. And then my brain would make these connections. And the more I've embraced it, I really see it as these webs of energy. And I see how things are energetically vibrating together. Now, that's not something I was taught. That's not something that was ever talked about. And for a long time, I was selling this magic, right? My ability to make connections is a great skill as a coach. But it's only been recently that I've started to really see, like, okay, this is something that is kind of cosmic, right? Like I'm seeing this actually. And I never really knew that that was how I was making the connections. So the more we work with it, the more it comes alive, and the easier life gets, because it cuts out a whole lot of things. So for example, if I'm wanting to make a decision about something, I can look at the energy and I can have a knowing, or I can go have 10 different conversations with different people about how hard this decision is and whether I should do this or that, and like get caught in all of this different energy about it. But when I'm really in my magic, it's an obvious choice. And I still can forget to use my magic sometimes, but it really lightens things up and makes things so much easier.
I think people, because it is generally something that comes so naturally to people tend to discount it. They don't put a lot of value on it. And I think there's an opportunity for people to go run, don't walk, run to your nearest Amazon or wherever it is that your books are purchased and get the book Shift the Field, and go ahead and take the quiz and see what your magic is and how it's showing up in your life. And then, Darla, people are going to be watching this and they're going to be wanting to know how they can connect with you and what you have coming up next so that they can participate in it. What shall we tell them?
Yes. So we have a new tool that just launched. It's called the Magic Map.
Magic Map.
And I know it can be found at sourcedexperience.com/magic map. And it is for people who want to lead transformationally, work with their clients on shifting their energy and optimize for their magic. And the idea behind it is stop giving your magic in the wrong place. So part of understanding how our magic works is also understanding who's receptive to it and where to use it. And I'll just give two really short examples. If a person is just like so excited about their magic and they're giving it everywhere, like if you went around and you goat mouthed on people everywhere you went, right? It would diminish the potency of that magic. And they might be like, what is that? Or they might say, oh, thank you so much. I really needed to hear that, but they don't do anything with it. And we're doing that a lot. We're offering a lot of really good advice and free advice, but we're not checking in to see if someone's committed to receiving that advice. And so that's one mistake people can make. And then on the other end, there's this holding back your magic, thinking that, oh, these words want to come out, but that's weird. And so I shouldn't say it. And so I'm not going to, and I'm just going to not use that gift. And a lot of people do that because they were judged for it when they were young, or they don't think it's valuable. You know, even for me with my recognition and being able to see these connections, I kind of have a sense of where things are going in certain, in places I've put my focus on. It's like I'm ahead a little bit. And being able to say that and know that and trust that, hey, like half the people are coming into my program because they want to know what I'm going to talk about, because that's where we're going. And that was really hard for me to be able to say, this is true. This is something that's true about me, because I'm not, white, straight male in power, who are the traditional people who set direction. Right. And yet I believe that we're here creating this community that's setting a new direction and creating new structures, so that when these structures fall away, we're like, oh, we got it. Oh, you're muted.
What do you have coming up next?
So we have the Magic Map. And when you engage with the Magic Map, there's a free training. There's one actually this Friday. And there is one later in October. So there's 2 date options, and that's all free training to look at how are you using your magic and where. And then we have an event called Shift the Field Live, which is our signature event where we apply the principles of the book to your business. We really look at how are you providing transformation? What could you tweak in your business model and how you're showing up to make your business more potent. And that is November 10th to 12th.
Awesome. And Darla, how can people connect with you if they have questions or concerns or?
Yeah. So support@sourcedexperience.com is our email address. And then I'm on Instagram and Facebook pretty regularly. So you can find me there.
Excellent. So everybody, figure out what your magic is. I say go check out that Magic Map. I know I will be checking it out. And everybody, we didn't get a chance to, because this was just such exciting conversation. We didn't get a chance to pick a card today, but we will on the next show. And guys, I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna do a transition, and I'm gonna ask you to introduce yourself again. So, hi, Darla. Welcome to the Ladies Power Lunch Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really,
Hi.
really happy that you're here. I have to let everybody know that Darla is one of my dearest mentors. I'm really, really excited to have you here. Can you share with us, Darla, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Darla LeDoux. I am the founder of a company called Sourced, where we help transformational leaders, coaches, consultants, creatives, and healers to market, sell, and deliver their deep transformational work with their magical gifts.
Awesome. And so this is not like, the traditional sort of career that you see on the resume, like, oh, attorney, doctor, transformational coach who works with magic to explore your transformational. How did you get to this point? And I'm asking this question for one specific reason. So go.
Okay, how did I get to this point? There's
How
a
did
lot
you
of
get
ways
here?
to answer this. I was trained as a coach in corporate. I worked in corporate and I was trained as a coach to help people have, we call it diversity coach for short, but to help people have conversations with people that are different from them and to be able to work effectively together. And when I took my coach training, I had this light bulb moment where we had to tell the truth, and everybody in the room gave a thumbs up or a thumbs down if they thought we were telling the truth. And this idea that we could, first of all, tell that if people were telling the truth was huge. And then seeing how many people, and like all of us, were walking around not being totally aligned with our truth was like mind-blowing to me. So even though there's a lot of things that have happened to bring me here to being an author and having a certification program and all of that, the seed was planted there in this concept of when we come in aligned with who we are, people can feel that.
I love that. When we come in aligned with who we are, people can feel that. And one of the 5 pillars of Grow Smarter, as those of you who are constant viewers and listeners to the Ladies Power Lunch show know, is alignment. That's so, so, so important to us. So Darla is one of my favorite mentors for that very reason, because when she came into my field of view, there was definitely alignment there. One of the ways in which we aligned is that her journey from corporate felt very aligned with my journey from the corporate machine. She came from corporate as an engineer. I came from corporate working in pharmacology as a scientist and working in private practice and trying to transition into that retreat leading space was interesting for me. And she was teaching how to be a transformational coach who leads retreats. That felt really aligned for me. And so that's how we met. And I was first introduced to her through her first book, which was called Retreat and Grow Rich. And now I'm very, very excited about her newer book, which is Shift the Field. And this book, I've got to tell you, if you haven't as yet had an opportunity to read it, you've got to take a look at it. My favorite thing about this book, Shift the Field, is when you talk about the magic that we all have. And the reason that it resonates with me so much is because we all have it. We don't have to go somewhere and buy it. We don't have to pick up our phone and order it on Amazon. Well, there is nothing that we need to do. We've got it and we have it and we discount it. We don't necessarily nurture it. We don't necessarily take care of it. We don't necessarily give it the honor that it deserves. What are some ways, Darla, that you would say that we could be doing better when it comes to the natural gifts that we have, the natural talents that we have, nurturing those talents?
It's really individual.
Mhm.
I mean, the first is to get comfortable with the idea that we're magical, right? I love that you said, we don't have to order it on Amazon. And it really, like, when we're in our magic, it feels so good. I don't know if you have that experience. I feel it all in my body. It's like, feels so alive. And then we don't need to buy so many things on Amazon. Not that I don't, by the way, because I do. So yeah, admitting we have it. And then I was just talking with my coach about this yesterday, about this way, my company's called Sourced, and we believe that we are literally sourced through our magic. Our magic sources us, right? It is divine, and that it's a lifestyle. And so if you can commit to the lifestyle of being sourced, then you start to see two things that can happen. And we talked about this earlier. One is to consistently transform anything that's keeping you disconnected. So as an example, when I became an engineer because growing up, I got the message, not directly, but indirectly, from the people around me and how they behaved, that I had to be smart to get love. That was why I was valued, is because I was smart. That was what my dad would say about me. And, he barely ever showed up. When he did, he was really happy to say I was smart. So I became an engineer so that I could be smart. And I had this barrier between me, like the real me, and the world, which was, I have to be smart, I have to look smart, I have to make sure you think I'm smart in order to be okay. And so that because of that, if my magic wanted me to be creative or playful or whatever, silly, or like, that would not match with being smart. And so we have to do the work to let go of these identities that we took on to stay safe. We have to do that, I believe, really systematically. And if we don't, like, things will happen in our life to help us let them go. And then the other is making time and space for source. So before we go asking people to give us good advice about what we should do, that we first tune in and say, well, what does my soul say? And then we might need advice and information, like, that's great. But instead of blindly tuning in and taking the advice first without checking in with ourselves about what we need, we're coming at it from a knowing, like, this is where I'm called. And then we get the collaboration and the support around us to support us in that.
I feel great alignment with all of that. That sounds wonderful. So we have upcoming with the Ladies Power Lunch group. For those of you who are new to our show, who might be following along with us on our podcast or on our YouTube channel, or watching along in our Facebook group, we do have coming up really, really soon our Ladies Power Lunch Fall Summit. And the theme for our Fall Summit, and we do have an anthology that we're going to be launching right alongside that, is called Ignite Your Leadership. And what we are suggesting with this theme is that times, they are changing, and this old-timey, grandfathery theme or idea of leadership, which is this top-down leadership, which has this one person at the top, and hopefully y'all will fall in line with the ideas that come from the top, is not really giving us the benefits that we would hope for. Probably similar to what you're talking about with having this coach that comes up with these great ideas and everybody falls in line with that. How does the idea of sourced business and using your magic fit in with the idea of a more collaborative leadership pattern?
Well, everything's energy, right? That's my belief. So, in Shift the Field, we're talking about shifting from what we call default energy, like I have to be smart to get love, to a sourced energy, like love and freedom. And those are some of mine. Love and freedom are some of my sourced energies. And so everything's energy. And if the leader, the top down, if the leader isn't in an alive energy, people are going to stop following. We were conditioned to follow. We were educated to follow. We're educated to kind of fall in line. But the more that we are, from the bottom up, so to speak, if there is a bottom or a top, aware of energy and trusting ourselves to go where the energy is alive, that aliveness can come from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we see, in this online marketing space, for lack of a better word, is like where there's energy, people go. And so I met the child of one of my clients at the end of retreat last week. And this human had the most vibrant energy. And I was so present to, young people now, so many more coming in, and not being conditioned in the same way that even we were. And their knowing, their belief, I'm looking at Ignite Your Leadership, right? Their knowing of this truth that ideas can come from anywhere and energy can come from anywhere is really going to have these top-down structures fall away. That's what I believe. And then as someone who runs a company, I have a whole team. It's like, okay, that's great in theory. And then it comes time to lead a team and you're leading, and also trusting that ideas can come from anywhere. And that, like, we really embody what we teach as a team, where we're looking collectively at where is the energy alive. And if we're trying to figure something out in a marketing campaign or whatever, and we feel the energy getting heavy, if it doesn't feel fun anymore, it feels like pressure, or we're trying to hurry, we stop and we go, this is feeling really heavy. What's happening? And we literally use the anatomy of a transformation, and we walk through it and we go, okay, where's the aliveness here?
I love that. I love that you are using the anatomy of a transformation. You're walking that talk in your day-to-day world of work. In our upcoming summit, we're approaching this idea of leadership from the point of view that if you are a healer, a teacher, a coach, a speaker, a professional, whomever you are, if what you do is supporting the others, if you're uplifting the others, then you are a leader. And our keynote speaker, she's going to be talking about a lot of what you were talking about when you said we have to admit that we have the magic, and we have to get comfortable that with the idea that we're magical. We have to actually embrace our own greatness. Like we have to accept it. We have to accept that we're great. We're amazing. Who knew?
Like, of course, we look at our human bodies, right? Like the amazing things that they can do. Like, how could we not be magical?
Yeah.
Living on this planet in these bodies that do so much.
Yeah. But like we were talking about before, when I asked you about energy patterns, you were talking about how we get stuck in these patterns where we're stuck on one side, where we believe, or we teach ourselves to believe that, for example, we're not magical, or we're not powerful, or we're not strong, or we can't do it, or we're not a leader. And this is what we're talking about at this summit. This is what we're trying to shift. This is the transformation that we are really wanting women of the world to embrace. You are magical.
Yeah.
You've got this. And my feeling about this is that when we know who we are, then we are better able to light up the people that we are working with, and they're better able to light up the people that they interact with. And on it goes until eventually the vibration of the planet itself raises.
Absolutely.
So it's important. It's like you can't put it aside and say, yeah, I'm not a leader, I got to focus on something else. It's important. What do you think, Darla?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we all are leading our own energy, period. Like there's no one else who's doing that but us. So automatically we're leaders. We're either leading our energy to be heavy or combative or victim-y or however, or we're leading it at a higher vibration. But we're all leading our own energy. And yeah, it's absolutely important. I was thinking about like that, the energy of having to be smart was one of the early transformations I had. That was like, oh my God, I didn't even know my entire life was being designed to look smart. And without that, I couldn't actually leave engineering because that was like my smart identity. Being a life coach didn't look very smart. Then I'm thinking about today, most recently, some of the work I've been doing is around the energy of war. And, we have war on our planet and because it's here, we all have it, even if it's like it's over there and it's them and it's not us, because it's here, we all have it. And so looking within and going, where is the energy of war still happening in here? Where am I at war with myself? Where am I judging myself? Where am I viewing business as a battleground, right? Like competing for clients or, guerrilla marketing, right? Like where are we looking at it as war tactics in the way we're doing our work? And you can't exist in this system that we've been given and not have some of that. And so when you're talking about, shining your light so other people's lights get ignited, that's what I think about. Is it's like, yes, it's getting visible, it's putting yourself out there, and it's also transforming these patterns that we've inherited. And whether you ever put yourself out there or build a big business, or if you're showing up to a job, but you're knowing that your heart is clean, and you're shining your light in your family, even, like that really makes a difference.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. I'm really looking forward to this upcoming summit because I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to consider transforming our idea of what we think of when we think of this idea of leadership. But back to this conversation about...
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Well, who's interviewing whom?
Okay.
Yes, you may ask a question just because it's you, Darla. Just because.
Well, because you're talking about the summit, right?
Okay,
and
fine.
I know how it is to lead a container like that. And it's so awesome that you're creating this space. And there's like, the message that we put out that we know a lot of people will resonate with. And then there's like the secret thing that we're really excited about. And I feel curious what you're most excited about.
Well, my secret thing that I'm most excited about is that thing that I just said. Like I talk about collaboration and networking and come and it's gonna be great and you're gonna make heartfelt connections and you're gonna meet your next best networking partner and you might even meet your next best collaboration partner in the room, and the people who are gonna be there, they're gonna be the kind of heart-centered people that you're looking for. It's not your grandfather's networking event, and we say that a whole lot. And it's 100% true, Darla. But the thing that beats my heart is really that when you walk into the room, I feel like we're going to have so much content. There's so much content that I'm looking at the schedule and I'm like, I have more content than there's time. And we could have walked into that room with zero content and everybody's vibration would have been raised. And it is in that raising of the vibrations that we are able to really get that transformation.
Yeah. Well, vibration is a magic. So
yeah. So that's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the energy. I'm excited about playing in that energy for those 3 days. That's just gonna be an amazing, beautiful thing for me.
I love you went like this, and it's like everybody has their version of how they're moving the energy and how they see it, and it's like a physical thing even. And so I just love seeing that, and I feel really excited about what people are going to get from stepping in.
Well, tell us again about the magics that when you talk about how each of us has our own magic that we don't have to order on Amazon, but it's living right inside of us. We don't even know because it comes to us so naturally. Tell us again, what are these different magic types? Let's talk about it.
Yes. So we just talked about vibration, which is really being able to see and sense the vibration someone's bringing, the vibration of a collective, and to work with that energy and to know intuitively how to shift the energy, shift the field, so to speak. I mean, this is all
here's
vibration.
The thing about the vibration magic. I don't sense that like necessarily so much on an individual level, right? But funny story, get me into a big group room and oh boy, it's like a playground for me because I feel it and I can move it around. It's beautiful. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, what's the next one?
Sensation is feeling it in your body. It can be connected to vibration, but for me, like I will feel like a pain or something like a movement in my body that's mirroring what someone is experiencing. There is expression, which we talked about earlier, which is the goat mouth or the words coming through you, or maybe it's art or music that's coming, straight through from source. There is the recognition magic, which my hand movement is like this. It's like seeing the connections or the webs.
I want to talk to you about the recognition magic, because I always thought to myself that it was obvious that you were going to be an engineer, because one of the things about the engineer is, I love engineers, by the way, guys. You probably heard me say this on the show before. If I wasn't a physician, I would have been an engineer. My grandfather's an engineer. I have like a ton of uncles who are engineers. I love the way that engineers think. Sometimes I think that way, but not all the time. But like you can see how all the things fit together. And like when you have a complicated problem, you can actually see like just the simple solutions to how it all just fits together. It's beautiful. And not everybody has that, but because you have it, it feels like it comes so naturally that it's just easy. It's beautiful. So it's obviously.
And it is, and everybody's magic is easy for them, and that's why they don't value it.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are the other ones?
We have compassion. This is healing with heart and love and non-judgment, complete acceptance. And then expansion is this innate knowing of the abundance of the universe, like a deep, deep belief that anything is possible.
Beautiful. Tell us a little bit about the magic map and how people can find out more about their magic.
So the magic map is a new tool. It's an interactive audio experience. So you go and you listen to little audios along the map, and you can find it at sourcedexperience.com/magic map. And it really is helping you to see where to give your magic and where not to. There's we have some detours on the map of like common mistakes that entrepreneurs make in relation to their magic.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. Darla, it's been amazing. I feel like this conversation could go on, and I guess we're gonna have to invite you back on the show so that we can talk to you some more about all the things that you are up to. I look forward to everybody taking advantage of all the things that you have going on. And everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you guys on the next show. Bye, everyone.